Hello, once more. Welcome back to Leopard Street. Welcome back to the cellar. Yeah, I forgot to film the title sequence for this one, so let's get on with it. Catch you in a sec. Right, now, last video progressed this little area. I built a wall. I have subsequently painted said wall. Games Workshop's Xandri Dust is the base, dry brushed. I think it's a Shabty Bone and Screaming Skull. You have to love their paint names. Agrax Earthshade on the exposed bits of card and just a little bit down here. And I also used Agrax Earthshade to paint, I don't know how well that shows up on camera, the individual slab pattern on the top. It's just a greyish brown, so it works. Right, the next step, that's got to get glued in. So before I can do that, I'm actually going to remove the signal box. Now this does unplug. As you can see, it's a little bit awkward to do, but it does unplug. Need to work the plug loose down here. It is coming out. There we are. So the signal box can be removed. It's then out of the way. Hopefully next time that goes in, it's going to get glued. The reason I'm going to remove that is I've got to fit that wall, which fits there. Once that's glued in, I should be cutting another little bit at the top there, so I'm going a bit further. Once that's glued in, I'm going to be filling little bits down there. Yeah, those they could do with a little bit of filling. Doesn't need much. I've got a little bit of modelling compound to put down around here. That's what I'm going to do today. This is Saturday afternoon. I'm then going to leave that to dry. And then when I come back, I'm going to paint that. So let me carry on this area. I'm just going to slice this slightly more. Bend it back a little bit more. It's just so it slides over. There's a little piece on there that needs to slide over. That'll do. Now, you can probably see that doesn't fit perfectly in the corner. However, as you may also be able to guess, when the signal box is in place, you can't really see it. I'm also, and this is the other reason the box is out, this whole area is going to need airbrushing. So, I can't do that with the signal box in place. So the first thing to do is stick this in. I will do the foliage that's going to be behind it. However, that is also going to wait slightly because I need to. Well, I'm just going to do the whole area at once, really. So, again, good old copied X. A load of that on the back. Well, I say a load. Doesn't need a huge amount. And let's face it, there's no real load on this. When the scenic stuff goes in, so you've got glue on the back. When the scenic stuff goes in, that will all sort itself out nicely. So that goes there, up against all of that. Holds in. That bit there is not quite up against it. Again, doesn't matter. That's going to have a load of scenic stuff scattered over the top of it. So that goes there. And that little corner's now not too far off. I'm going to go and do the modelling compound. I'm going to do that off camera because it's not particularly interesting to watch, and you've seen me do it several times now. It is really just going to be filling in this little bit here, the oil hut, and just a little bit round there, bit around the base. This area here is probably going to, there's going to be a little pathway laid there of sand. I might actually cut that out and stick that down with card. No, I'll just do it as a path over the top. The other one I want to do, if I can find the appropriate bit here, but again, this is going to come after I've put the offcuts in, is I'm going to put a little bit more of this fencing just along there, but that needs the end retaining wall doing, which, as you will notice, I haven't done yet. Anyway, I'm going to put some compound down. I shall then return. Right, so back. Quick tip. Whole bit of XPS foam. I was just using this to. I didn't want to get my hands too close to the wall, so I was dropping the stuff on here and just pushing it in with that. But that's done. That's filled the areas I need to fill. You can see where the cardboard has gone wet. That now needs to dry. I'm not powering the layout up until that's dry because it's around all the lighting electrics. And then that will need painting, but it needs to thoroughly dry before it gets painted. Once that's painted, I can come back, I can put the there's going to be some sand across here and over there where the pathway is. I can paint the rest of it, I can paint that bit, a bit of airbrushing, and away we go. So that will be, I mean, it'll be later in this video for yourselves, it'll be later in the week. For me, it'll probably be, it might be late Sunday. I suspect this is going to take until Monday to dry, but there you go. I might find something else to do in the intervening time. So I will catch you in whatever is next. Here we are, Monday night. The filler is in. As you can see, it's had a couple of coats of brown paint. I was hoping it'd be dry by now, but it's not. This is a bit of a problem, because the next step is I need to ballast down here under the bridge, little bits around there, and just scatter some other bits and pieces around. Basically what I've done on this side. That needs to go down, but it's got to have, that paint's got to be dry. I'm also going to do the pathways at the same time, which is going to be some sand. Again, that brown paint has got to be dry before I can do that. So that's not happening tonight, so I can't bring you that. So here we are with how far this has got, and the answer is not very. Lesson here is one of timing. The ideal time actually to do that filler would have been earlier in the week or later in the week, and found something else to do for now, because this has sort of kiboshed me. So I can't do the ballasting. What I can do is run some trains. So I'm going to do a little bit of work on my automation software. Once I've got that running, I'm hopefully going to be able to get 4 trains lapping at once instead of just 2. We'll come back and we'll have a little bit of a discussion on, well, how that works. Okay, so yeah, slight delays with glue setting, slight delays with some technical incompetence. What we now have is the automated software I have. You can see, ignore this interface up here, it doesn't actually do anything at the moment, it's just a window. This window here shows what happens, so if I scroll up a little bit, I can go up to the command where I started this. Not that long ago actually, so here we are. Where do we get to? There's all of this here, so entering main loop, chain stop, no chain, where are we? Yeah. All of this is what this program outputs when it starts. Try and go back to where it actually loaded. What it's doing, here we are. So we start off, this is where I start the command called auto train. Comes in here, it loads in some blocks. That doesn't really do anything at the moment. It reads some files. There's a lot of debug information dropped out at the minute. So it's reading 4 different path files, and what we've got is path 1 is Flying Scotsman on the outer main. Path 1 is Cheshire on the inner main. Path 2 is a K3 on the inner goods. That's path 2. Path 3 is the Flying Scotsman on the outer main. Path 4 is the Q6 on the outer main. And here we have lots and lots of bits. It loads up. This connects to the JMRI WeThrottle server. It connects to my MQTT server, and as you can see, it gets every MQTT value to start with. So, how do we start this going? Well, since the camera is focused over there, I'm going to start with the Scotsman, and I press button 3 on the keypad. As you notice, the signal changes. The train starts. She's going to run round. We'll have a wider look at the layout in a minute. You can follow on here as all of the MQTT values come in. Where it says publish, that's me saying I want you to do something. Where it says update, that is the layout reporting something has changed. And you can see the red line moving around on the JMRI panel as the various blocks go active and inactive. Scotsman is set up. We'll have a look at one of the... Well, let's actually have a look at the path file now, why not? So, this is the command she follows. It's a scripting language I wrote. it's very, very fragile at the moment, but it basically starts up. We're going to acquire the loco. Set restart is when we loop, this is where we go back to. We only have to acquire the loco once. Print says drop something to the console, so we come down here, we set the point, we wait for the point to set, we set the signal, wait for the signal to go green. Then this F40 is forwards at speed 40. We wait for another block to go active, then we reset the signal. We go around a little bit further. What we're here is we're waiting for part of board B, which, if I go back to Leopard Street, is this route along the back here. We're waiting for that to go active. Oh, now we have the other train going. Then we set the route back into the yard. We rumble round here. Bit is branch if true. So it says basically if that sensor's true, go here. Otherwise it just goes back into a little loop and waits. Slows down when it enters the yard. Says, is this the last time we're going round? Because obviously it's going round twice. If it is, it starts the other train going, which we've just seen. Then it waits to get to its stop block, and then it stops, and then sets the throttle to 0, and it'll loop if need be. And there's 4 of these. They define different routes round. If you've been watching Ian over at Trains of Thought, you'll see he uses iTrain. Now, iTrain is quite a bit cleverer than the software I've got going here. What I've got going here is told this is a path. It has a start point, and it has an end point. I assign a locomotive to it, and when I say go, it follows those instructions. It's a little bit stupid at the moment. It can see where the train is. Each path doesn't take account of where the other trains are. So I have to code at the moment with the paths so they don't collide with each other. For example, I've got various diamond crossings here. At the moment, if I want to use those, I need to be careful. They are blocks. So, for example, the Scotsman's going round now, and as she comes round here, I could actually say to her, when you get to up here, if that block is occupied, stop. If something's going the other way. Or check where these points are, and if they're set against you, stop. But she's going round nicely. What I can also do is come back on here, is start the inner loop going. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and move the camera around so you can see a few more trains. Yes, with apologies for the mess around here, but if I position this here, I can get at the controls and you can see a bit more of the yard. And as I can pan around, you see we've got Cheshire going round and the Scotsman coming up together. Now the 2 passenger trains take roughly the same amount of time to go around the loop. This is purely by chance. It's not really even intentional. But what it means is they tend to pass each other round there, which looks quite nice. The 2 freight trains take a different amount of time, so if I leave this running long enough, things get more and more out of sequence. So Cheshire's coming in here. She's slowed down. She will speed up again in a mo. There you go, seeing her speeding up as she goes round my second attempt. And what I'm going to do is readjust the focus slightly to down here, like so. So you can see the K3 and you can see the point work. Now, hard to get them both in shot at once. Have a little look at trains as they go around each other again up there. Whee! Train's running. What's going to happen next time she comes around? There we are. Point work has now changed. For entrance into the yard by the Q6. And we're going to see the K3 set off very shortly. There we go. And there she runs. And we'll go back up here and we can look at that. The nicer part of the layout again, despite all the mess on it. As the 2 freight trains will rumble past each other over on that part. Now these obviously go a lot slower. These are set up to just run round once. It's a very simple sequence. Passenger train does 2 loops. It then swaps to a goods train that does a single loop. And then it repeats. But now I've got the inner and the outer tracks going. They don't interact with each other. But what? So yeah, there's no. This K3 is running round. It will trigger the D49 again. Oh, there we are. The Scotsman's on the way, so we've got 3 trains running at once now. 4 trains running at once. See, this is what I wanted with the layout. I can't control 4 trains at once, but this system can. It's crude. I mean, as you see on the screen, it's literally just following a very simple script. There's a lot of debug information coming out, which really should go onto this grey interface with all the red buttons on it. None of them do anything. I can click on that all I like, and you'll see the little object clicked messages appear. It doesn't do anything yet. It needs to, but it doesn't. Now I've got some commands for stopping this coded in as well. I can tell the trains to... I think there is a command to tell them to stop now, but I can't remember what it is. Probably should learn that one. What I've got is a command that says do not daisy chain. So these 2 trains that are running now won't start any more trains if I tell it to do that. And there's another one that says trains will stop this iteration. So basically they will get to the end of their assigned path and they will then stop. It's fairly straightforward. What this means is I can sit back and listen to trains rumbling round. I can watch 4 trains going round at once. I can watch them passing each other. And here we go. Are we going to trigger the other one this time? I don't know whether we're going to trigger the 2 goods trains again. We'll see. Yep, Q6, there we are. That's off. And the K3 will start up again in a minute, I believe. Yep, there we go. So again, all 4 trains running. And one of them didn't stop. So we've had a collision. Okay, so I need to go ding ding to tell everything to stop. Basically what's happened there is the Scotsman's run on a little bit further than it should do, and has therefore derailed. In theory I should hit the E-stop with this, but in practice I'm going to leave it and just let these trains come around. Yes, worthwhile showing the problems we have. They're going to stop at the end of this run, and we'll go and have a little look and see exactly what happened over there. Yes, that train does go around the other one, which is something I was wondering about. Hopefully the Q6 will stop. If it doesn't, I've got my finger ready on the emergency stop button. So things will stop. The editor's decision is final on this. So the K3 is going to come in. It should just grind to a halt in a sec. There we go. And see why the Scotsman decided not to stop. Occasionally a sensor will be missed, or it won't pick up in time. So if that Q6 doesn't stop, which it has, that's good. So everything's come to a halt. So I'm now going to come down here. And we're going to have a little look and zoom in. Yes. What's happened there is the Scotsman, for some reason, has decided not to stop. She stopped now. If I just gently pull her backwards. She's not trying to drive forward, so she got the stop command. Just not quite in time. Basically, she should have stopped about there, clear of the junction, but didn't. Stopped a bit late. So yes, I've probably got some scripts I need to adjust. Anyway, yeah. Yes, I've obviously got a little bit of error checking to do there. But that's the auto train software. Anyway, that's done. I'm now going to switch everything off. I'm going to go around and recover those derailed wagons and put them back where they're supposed to be. And I'm going to do a little bit of ballasting. So I'll catch you in a sec. Yeah, so here we go with ballasting is the first bit. What was the second stage I was going to do with this as well? I'm going to try and find some sand in a minute. This is, I'll just zoom in a little, show you the area I'm doing. This is just really just the finishing off. There's a bit to do around there. It's going to go up into that area a little bit. Then it's along here. It's not a lot, actually. It really isn't much ballasting at all. So I'm just going to push this into a lid, so I've got a little bit over here. But it's just finishing things, so it's a bit along here. If I just, it's probably easier just to tip it out like this on the edges slightly. I'm going to have to take a brush to it in a bit. Going along there, there's a little bit down there I want to fill in, a little bit more around here. So just pat it down a little with fingers just to level it over. Yeah, that bit there on that path I don't want, so I'll gently use a brush and move that off, just to shape it round a little bit. Yeah, we'll do a little bit more over here. It's not much, like I say, this is just scenic decoration. There we go, that'll do. This whole area is going to get static grass over. Obviously not over the ballast, but there we go. I just need a little more for the other end. That's just slowly about finishing this area off. Put some around there. And then tip a load into this area here, the inside of the bridge. And it's going to get the attentions of an airbrush at some point as well, but I need to get the ballast actually in first. So if I do that, that's pretty much got what I need. I'll do a little bit more just around the base of the bridge, I think, just to help. This will be sort of like behind the signal box, just along this area. This bit will get some static grass added to it as well, because I can later, effectively. Just tip some of that in there, just filling that gap. And it gets brushed over, to neaten it up a little on that edge. And now there's something I need. Let's see if I can find. What I want is a pathway along here. I'll be back in a mo. Yeah, back. I found what I was looking for remarkably quickly. This stuff. Bathing sand for small rodents. So I'm going to open some of this out, and what this is very similar to the ballast, but finer. And I'm going to use it to make a path, and I'm going to hold it down in exactly the same way. So I'm just going to brush some of this over this bit of cardboard. I'm not too fussed if it goes a little bit to the sides, because at the end of the day, it's all going to end up looking remarkably similar. So I'll just put some of that onto there. This end piece here will need a little bit more doing to it. I've just not got that far yet. So do that there. Just gives a gravel path is the effect I'm after. If you've walked alongside a railway line, firstly, if you have walked alongside a railway line, I hope you were allowed to and had permission to do it and were following all the appropriate safety precautions. If you weren't, you're naughty and you shouldn't have been there. But just something that's worth saying. Just pointing that out. So that's going to go there. The point is that hut will eventually sit there, and I want a pathway that goes up to it. So that is about that, and a little bit more, just a little bit more at this end here, gravel. There will probably be more of this once I've set the signal box down, but for now that'll do. Just a very little bit. It's just a slightly finer version of the ballast, really. But yes, if you walk alongside the railway lines, you'll realise that ballast is ballast, and then you get gravel for pathways. It's easier and it's safer to walk on. So what we're now going to get is a syringe full of liquid. This says 100% IPA. This is actually water at the moment. Very naughty of me not relabeling it. But the idea behind this is just to wet all of this, ideally without blowing too much of it everywhere. Do this side here first. And of course the purpose of the water is to pre-wet this. So this here, which is Copydex water and a bit of washing up liquid, just to break the surface tension. Incidentally, you can also use what is it, rinse aid for a dishwasher, which I've used before. The technique, it's basically called wet water. You think, well, hang on, water's wet. Yes, water is wet. The idea here is that this has lower surface tension, so it will soak in a bit more easily. So that's that. Changes colour slightly when you go on. Now the problem here, this is adjacent to the track, and this is why this is why I ran the trains before. So I did some of this the other day. I've done it before, and the problem is you have to let it dry thoroughly. We don't have to, but if you don't be surprised if it goes green. And I'm not kidding. It will change colour. Electricity tends to react with the glues for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, and it will make it change colour a little bit. It's not a massive problem. I mean, you can always paint it, but it's just one of these things. It's easier not to have to, if that makes sense. So put that over there like that. And that's that. Now, that is going to take probably overnight to dry. The next thing to do is going to be come in and do some airbrushing around it. Obviously this side here needs doing as well. It's all got to be blended in. I should really have airbrushed this side before I put the dirt down, but since the colours I'm airbrushing it, if it goes over this dirt pathway thing, I'm not actually that bothered. But that's going to get done. It's going to come around the base around here. It'll weather the brickwork. It'll just draw it all together. It'll work well, I think. I hope. Then that area needs the buildings will need. Well, I say the buildings will need the signal box. Actually, I'll bring it back over. Has got weathering around the bottom, so that's all right. This little hut hasn't, so I'll have to do that just to blend it all in. That stuff can then be stuck down, possibly with a bit of static grass material put around the back. I'll need to position exactly where the signal box is going to sit. That needs its interior doing. There's lots still to do, but this little area here is coming along quite nicely. So, yes, that's that one. So what have we done today? Seemingly very little over the weekend. This area here has had a bit of work done. I've run a few trains. I've got the automation system seemingly able to automatically crash the Flying Scotsman into some goods wagons. So I need a little bit more work to do there. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. As usual, likes, comments, shares, subscriptions, all that YouTube stuff, more than welcome. I will catch you all in the next one, which should be Thursday, and should be adding lighting, like the dummy coach lighting for the DCC decoder. So yeah, take the existing decoders and do a bit of work on them. We'll see what we can do with that and a little bit of programming. Till then, enjoy the rest of your week. I will catch you around. Thank you very much, and goodbye.